Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, ji, now let's discuss the difference between simplex, half duplex, and full duplex transmissions. Acha, so far we have understood the difference between asynchronous and synchronous data transmission. We have understood the difference between serial and parallel data transmission. Now, the final point that we need to discuss regarding data transmission is the difference between simplex, half duplex, and full duplex data transmission. Okay, if data transmission is only carried out in one direction, that means the data is considered in simplex. So it's one direction, not one direction at a time. It's one direction only. So the devices, the two communicating devices are only capable of transmitting data in one direction. An example can be when data is transferred from a computer to a printer. Now you notice that data is only sent to the printer, nothing comes back from the printer. And if you're talking about interrupts and stuff like that, that is not data, that's something else. Okay? So when data is sent from a computer to printer, that is an example of simplex data transmission. Apart from that, if we talk about half duplex data transmission, half duplex means data can be transferred in both directions, but not at the same time. So what that means is data is transferred between two devices in during at one session. There is only one sender and one receiver, and then after the roles are reversed, the sender has now become the receiver and the receiver is now sending. But data sent in both directions is capable of being sent in both directions, but not at the same time. So example is, for example, we can say the walkie-talkie transmission. Now walkie-talkies operate on the principle that one sender presses a button, and during that only his microphone is active and he's speaking. When he's done with his conversation, he says over and he releases that button, during which the person who was listening before, the way he was listening, that he was not pressing any button, he was simply receiving the data, right? Now, when the sender is done sending and he has said the word over after his entire statement, the receiver will now start. Now the receiver will press the button. It is now his turn to speak, and the receiver will now become the sender, and the original sender will now become the receiver. So data, as you see, can be transferred in both directions, but not at the same time. So another example is telephonic conversations. Now, when we speak on the phone with someone, I understand we can speak, both people can speak at the same time, but that results in loss of data. We don't understand what each other is saying. So we take turns in speaking. So first one person speaks, then and the other person only listening. And then the first person, when he's done saying his thing, the other person who was now listening, it responds. So data is sent in both directions, but not at the same time. Finally, we have full duplex data transmission. Full duplex transmission means data is capable of being sent in both directions simultaneously. A very good example of full duplex data transmission is your broadband internet connection that you are currently using in your home. Now, what does the broadband internet connection have to do with full duplex? Well, you can see here there are multiple users accessing the same internet connection at the same time, and they have their own, uses. Some people are maybe uploading data to a network, and some people may be downloading the data from a network. In fact, yourself are simultaneously uploading and downloading data from your computer alone. Your computer may be downloading some updates. Meanwhile, you may be sending some emails. So you're doing uploading and downloading at the same time. So when you're doing that, when you're sending data in both directions simultaneously, that is known as full duplex data transmission. For example, your broadband internet connection. Now, both serial parallel data transmissions can be simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. So if you're asked what does serial simplex data transmission mean, that means one bit. Serial means, as we remember, one bit at a time on a single data transmission channel. Serial simplex would mean that one bit at a time on a single data transmission channel being sent in only one direction. Whereas half duplex would mean that, for example, parallel half duplex would mean that as sent multiple bits are being sent over multiple channels, but in both directions, but not at the same time. So you may be asked questions about like this. A combination of these two terms, for example, serial simplex, parallel half duplex, parallel full duplex. Parallel full duplex means multiple bits sent over multiple channels in both directions simultaneously. So this is the difference between simplex, half duplex, and full duplex error transmission.